Fight fans, I am your host, Ak, alongside my co-host, Barack. We are the Hype Men on Sirius XM Rush 93, and today we are sitting down with one of our favorites, head of Showtime Sports, Steven Espinoza. So, Steven, a fight schedule that's exciting the fight fans. It's one of the things that we're definitely going to touch on today. We're going to get into that. But this time I wanted to talk about you. I wanted to talk a little bit about your history because there's a lot that people don't know. They know that this is the guy that signed Floyd Mayweather for 6 fights. That's what you're known for to a lot of boxing fans. But I even did done more research, and he represented a lot of big names in entertainment world.
Snoop Dogg.
I seen some stuff with Tom Cruise, Nicole Kidman.
I got a little case I'm fighting. You're right.
We'll talk about that later.
Snoop's case?
No. Tyler Perry, and the list goes on. And you have been involved in like the biggest grossing boxing fights in history, in one way or another. When it's all said and done. So I would say you're a successful executive for a network. You know what I mean? Very. One thing I always wondered. What is your ethnic background? I have to know.
Who are we talking to? White guy, you gonna bust out some Spanish on us? What you gonna do right now?
Mexican.
Who won the bet?
I won. I did.
I said I bet.
You know what? My guess
we
was
were saying like Nicaragua, and we was
my guess was half Mexican, half Jewish.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay. He was like Espinoza. Like,
Yeah.
now we know.
My grandparents are from Mexico. My grandparents are Mexican. Yeah.
Do you speak Spanish?
I do speak Spanish. 90%. Like especially after I moved to New York, it's no longer fluent because I'm not in it like I was in LA. But there were, I was raised a lot by my grandfather, and there were 2 things that he loved. For whatever reason, he's probably the only Mexican in history who doesn't love soccer. Like he was not a soccer guy. The 2 sports in our house, were Dallas Cowboys football and boxing. So those are the 2 things that I
Fight fans since a young age.
Since and you know who was like the patron saint at that point was Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. Like if you're a boxing fan and a Mexican boxing fan of a certain age, there's no other name.
You have to know. So let's get into it. Like, what was the first fight where you remember? And watched it and said, you know what, I love this sport.
You know what, and it's funny. It's funny you bring this up because it's been coming off a lot lately. It's also one of my first sporting event memories ever, and I think probably the first time I remember crying over a sporting event, and it was Ali Leon Spinks in 1978. Now looking back, you look back, that wasn't Ali, but he was still, look, I'm 8 years old.
The name Ali, exactly.
And you're Ali, and here's this obnoxious guy, he's got, 8 fights, 9 fights, like, of course Ali's gonna win. Like, Ali's the greatest. This is like some guy from the amateurs, he's 9 fights in, and that guy's not supposed to win. Like, he doesn't win. This obnoxious loudmouth, got the big gap in his teeth. Like, this guy can't beat Muhammad Ali.
Like that.
And, it's funny. What I didn't realize, and this is how, life gets circular sometimes, that's the last fight that CBS telecast in prime time. So now the reason that comes up again is we've got Thurman Porter on June 25th, which will be, from 1978 to 2016.
The first championship fight.
The first fight on CBS prime time.
Oh, prime time, okay.
Prime time since 1978.
So you're a fight fan even before dealing with the celebrities and representing those guys. So it is like a full circle. I mean, not only, besides all the fancy people that you're also involved in Boys and Girls Club, or you have been, because I've read something about that. So what do you think right now? Like right now, Showtime and HBO, they're going head to head. They're competing against each other, I would say, because I do watch HBO. You know what I mean? I'm a boxing journalist.
I don't, by the way. Just letting you know, I don't watch.
Yeah. Well, look, he watches HBO. You know what I mean? In fact, I ran into him at the Triple G Curtis Stevens fight in the
You're right. I
in the
do
garden.
go to all fights. I do go.
Close to the fight. No. And I looked at him. I was like, Well, fight
I was
fan.
in the stands. I was kind of high up too. Like I didn't cash any favors.
He had a big sombrero with a mustache.
And some glasses.
Right.
Yeah,
Some Bobby Valentine type stuff, right? Yeah. Yeah. So I've been a fan since way back. And, matter of fact, I started representing Oscar De La Hoya in about '99. It was right after the Trinidad fight. That I started representing as a lawyer.
So when you were practicing, did you feel like this was? Did you feel fulfilled? Was it still
I'll
something
tell you, I was an entertainment attorney, so 80%, 85% of my job was, film and TV. Actors, writers, producers, like you said, Snoop and Tyler Perry and a bunch, others. But, there are people who grow up feeling about film and TV the way us sports fans feel about sports. Like they check box offices and ratings the way, we check, there was pay-per-view numbers or box scores and all of that. So look, I thought I was going to be entertaining for the rest of my career. I was happy doing it. Was it like in my heart, the number? No. And what I discovered pretty quickly after taking this job is there's a huge difference between doing your sort of second choice as a job and doing what your first choice, where your heart really is. By the way, a lot of people, I was, blessed to be able to do a second choice and make a good living at it. But even in that respect, once you start doing
Boxing being your second choice.
No. Entertainment
like,
lawyer.
Entertainment. Oh, okay.
when I'm there, I enjoyed my job, I enjoyed my clients. Was it something I felt like, did I go home and spend time on my leisure time, film and TV? No, I wasn't that kind of a film and TV person. But when you work in sports and you go home and you still do sports and watch sports, then you're fortunate enough to be doing something that you love.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing.
No, it is. It's a blessing. It really is.
Golden Boy Promotions, and without getting too deep into this, when that whole debacle happened with Richard Schaefer, Oscar De La Hoya, Al Heyman, what was the X factor that caused you to, I wouldn't say side with Al Heyman, but maintain that business relationship and totally cut ties as far as a business relationship with Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy?
Well, the reality is in these situations, one of the most difficult things is that you need to take the personal out of it. So whether it's a promoter relationship or a dispute like that between people that you're friendly with, you really have to take the personal out of it. You can't hold grudges. My job is not to work just with people that I'm friendly with. My job is to get the best programming for the network.
It's got to make you money.
That's right. So the reality is, I really didn't have, from my perspective, the option of choosing sides. My goal, my intention at that point is whatever my personal feelings about how the split happened, my goal was to maintain, relationships with everybody because I want to continue to buy from everybody. Now, that's not the way it sort of played out because, at some point, Oscar decided he wanted to reestablish ties with HBO. He took a bunch of guys back to HBO and really hasn't been back since. But, that wasn't because we didn't pursue those guys. We had a deal with Canelo, to keep him at the network, and Oscar decided to go somewhere else. So the reality is the goal is always, is to be as open as humanly possible.
Well, I want to know, was there any fear when Canelo left? Since he's actually the next in line, after Mayweather as far as buys and, crowd fan favorite. Was there a little fear?
I wouldn't say fear. Would we rather have him? Sure. But the reality is, the sport has always survived on more than one guy. There's always been 2 or 3 or 4 stars at the forefront, and they're going to be spread around.
I would say the fear happened with Floyd was wrapping it up, if anything.
Yeah. So at this point, look, Canelo's going to have a great career. No matter where he ends up, whatever network he's going to. Right. But by the same token, when you look at guys like Danny Garcia or Thurman or Santa Cruz or it's the talent gets distributed. Nobody's got all the talent.
Why is it that the networks can't not do these multi-fight deals with these fighters? Ideally, why can't a fighter fight on Showtime, then HBO, then Showtime, and then HBO? what? I mean, why do the promotional companies don't explore that?
You know, I think quite honestly that's the way we would prefer, or I would personally prefer. You know, and at the point, you know, right now at this moment, you know, we have an arrangement with Provodnikov, you know, short term. But beyond that, you know, we don't have any multi-fight deals. So now, when you have someone like a Floyd or like a Canelo, I think that's the exception because you're going to invest a lot into that guy. But I think beyond that, you know, I understand. You know, I understand if a fighter's got to go to another network, you know, it's absolutely fine, you know, if he does.
You said that in an interview one time. I always wanted to know how true that statement was. And I see now.
I'll give you an example. Amir Khan.
Hold that thought. When we come back, folks, we're going to get into Amir Khan. We'll talk a little Floyd Mayweather, you know, and some of the upcoming fights. One of the fights that he actually has going up against Pacquiao, Bradley. I want to get his take on it. The Hype, Sirius XM, Rush 93. Don't you move.
I am the one with the juice. Platinum, new phantom, no roof. Popping the bands when I do. Splashing on bitches like I am the one with the juice. Platinum, no phantom, no roof.